He just grabbed her by the waist and kissed her in front of everyone. "Stay quiet," Darren muttered in her ear, his grip tightening slightly. "Just go along with it." A billionaire's desperate kiss to escape an arranged marriage turns into an unpredictable game of love, lies, and deception, until he must fight against all odds to prove his feelings are real before it's too late. But before we start the video, let us know where you're watching this video. And if you like this story, don't forget to subscribe, Story Store, and please share your thoughts about this story in comment section. The grand ballroom of the luxurious hotel shimmered under the glow of crystal chandeliers. Wealthy guests moved elegantly across the marble floor, their laughter blending with the soft melody of a live orchestra. The air was thick with the scent of roses and expensive perfume, glasses clinking in celebration. But just as the evening seemed perfect, a collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Darren Logan, a tall, strikingly handsome self-made billionaire, had just pulled a young woman into his arms and kissed her. Emily Carter, a hotel staff member dressed in a simple black uniform, froze in shock. Her wide green eyes darted around the room, panic setting in. She felt her body stiffen, her pulse hammering wildly in her ears. Heat rushed to her face, her cheeks turning a deep shade of red, and her ears burned with a mixture of embarrassment and fury. "What are you doing?" she whispered furiously, trying to push him away, but his grip remained firm, unyielding. "Just go along with it," Darren muttered, his voice low and commanding. Go along with it? Was he out of his mind? Emily could barely breathe. The warmth of his body was suffocating, his cologne, a rich mix of cedarwood and spice, invading her senses. His lips had been firm, yet surprisingly gentle, and the ghost of the kiss still tingled on her own. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might burst. She had never been this close to a man like him before, especially not someone as powerful and dangerously charismatic as Darren Logan. The murmurs in the ballroom grew louder, and she became painfully aware of all the eyes watching them. Her fingers trembled as she gripped the fabric of his tuxedo, unsure if she wanted to shove him away or hold on for balance. Darren finally pulled back, his smirk infuriatingly confident. There, that should do the trick. Emily's breath hitched, her face still burning. She had no idea what game he was playing, but one thing was clear. Her ordinary life had just taken an unexpected turn. Emily barely had time to process what had just happened before Darren turned to the stunned crowd, his smirk unwavering. With confidence that only he could pull off, he announced, "Everyone, meet my girlfriend, Emily." A wave of gasps and whispers spread through the ballroom like wildfire. His parents, Charles and Veronica Logan, looked horrified. Veronica's sharp blue eyes burned with disbelief as she clutched her pearl necklace. This was not the woman they had chosen for him. Emily's heart pounded. She wanted to scream that this was a mistake, that she had no idea what was happening. But Darren's grip on her waist tightened, a silent warning to stay quiet. After the party ended, Emily stormed into the private lounge where Darren was sipping a whiskey, looking far too relaxed for someone who had just turned his life into a scandal. "What was that?" she snapped, her fists clenched. Darren exhaled slowly, setting down his glass. "I had no choice. My parents were about to announce my engagement to Vanessa Sinclair." Emily vaguely recognized the name, a wealthy heiress, cold and distant. "I don't love her," Darren continued, meeting Emily's gaze. "I needed a way out, and you were there." Emily glared at him. "So you used me?" "I'll make it worth your while," he said, stepping closer. "Pretend to be my girlfriend, and I'll take care of you and your family." Emily hesitated. Was this a deal she could afford to refuse? Emily crossed her arms, her frustration evident. So you expect me to just go along with this? Darren met her gaze, unwavering. I'm offering you a deal. Pretend to be my girlfriend for a while, and in return, I'll make sure your family never struggles again. Emily's breath hitched. Her younger brother needed school fees, and her mother's medical bills were piling up. The offer was tempting, but could she really trust him? You think money solves everything, she challenged. In my world it does, Darren replied smoothly. Think about it, Emily. A few months of pretending, and your problems disappear. She hesitated, weighing her pride against her family's needs. Finally, she exhaled. Let me think about it. Darren smirked. Don't take too long. As she walked away, she knew one thing. If she accepted this deal, nothing in her life would ever be the same again. Sleep eluded Emily that night. She lay awake, thinking about her family's struggles, her brother's education, her mother's medical bills. Darren's offer could change everything, but was she willing to step into his world of wealth and deception? By morning, her mind was made up. She dialed Darren's number. I agree, she said firmly, but on my terms. Darren's voice was amused. I'm listening. If I'm pretending to be your girlfriend, I won't be treated like a joke. I meet your parents properly. Done, Darren agreed without hesitation. Emily exhaled, knowing there was no turning back now. By the end of the day, she would face the powerful Logan family and the woman she had unknowingly replaced. A few days later, Emily arrived at Darren's grand mansion for dinner. The estate was breathtaking, tall marble pillars, shimmering chandeliers, and an air of wealth so overpowering it felt like another world. But nothing was more intimidating than the woman sitting at the head of the long dining table, Veronica Logan. As soon as Emily sat down, Veronica's cold blue eyes scrutinized her. A hotel worker? That's what you bring home? She scoffed, setting her silverware down with distaste. Emily straightened her back and met her gaze without fear. Yes, I work hard every day. I know what struggle is, and I know how to stand on my own 2 feet without a rich family support. A flicker of surprise crossed Veronica's face before she regained her composure. Darren smirked slightly, impressed by Emily's unshaken confidence, but Emily knew this was only the beginning. Veronica wasn't a woman who gave up easily, and if she wanted Emily gone, she would do everything in her power to make it happen. Days turned into weeks, and Emily found herself spending more time with Darren. From charity events to private dinners, their act as a couple became more convincing. But something unexpected happened. Darren began seeing Emily in a different light. She wasn't just a hotel worker caught in his world. She was strong, independent, and unlike anyone he had ever met. She challenged him, spoke her mind, and never treated him like a billionaire, only as a man. Emily, too, felt something shift. The more she got to know Darren, the harder it became to ignore the growing connection between them. One evening, after a charity gala, Darren and Emily found themselves alone on the balcony of his mansion. The city lights stretched endlessly before them, but Darren's focus was entirely on her. You surprise me, Emily, he murmured, his gaze intense. She arched an eyebrow. Is that a good thing? Before she could react, Darren closed the distance between them and kissed her. It wasn't calculated or part of their deal. It was real. Emily pulled back, breathless. Why did you do that? Darren's expression softened. Because I think I'm falling for you. Her heart pounded. This wasn't supposed to happen, but it had. And now, nothing would be the same. Just as things between Darren and Emily began to feel real, trouble was brewing. Veronica Logan was furious. She had spent years grooming Bianca Sinclair to be Darren's wife, and she wasn't about to let some hotel worker ruin everything. "She's after his money," Bianca sneered. "You know that." Veronica smirked. "Then we'll make sure she believes Darren is only acting." Together, they began planting doubts in Emily's mind. Subtle comments, staged conversations, and carefully crafted lies. They made her believe Darren was only keeping up the act for his family's sake. And slowly, doubt crept into Emily's heart. Was any of this real, or had she been foolish to believe it was? Emily's chest tightened as she confronted Darren. The doubts planted by Veronica and Bianca consumed her. "Is this all still an act?" she whispered. Darren frowned. "What? No, who told you that?" She shook her head, her heart breaking. "I should have known better." "Emily, wait." He reached for her, but she stepped back. Tears welled in her eyes as she turned and walked away, ignoring the pain in Darren's voice. Stepping into the cold night, she felt shattered. Darren stood frozen, watching her leave, confusion turning into anger. He had to find out who was behind this. Darren was furious when he finally uncovered the truth. His mother and Bianca had manipulated Emily, feeding her lies to drive her away. He clenched his fists, realizing how much pain they had caused the woman he loved. He wasn't going to let them win. Determined to expose them, he devised a plan. He arranged a grand party, ensuring both Emily and his mother would be in attendance. If he wanted to fix things, he needed undeniable proof. On the night of the event, the grand ballroom was filled with guests, unaware of what was about to unfold. Darren stood tall, his expression unreadable as he watched the crowd. He spotted Emily, standing alone in a corner, looking hesitant yet beautiful. This was his chance to make things right. Tonight, he would reveal the truth, and nothing, not even Veronica's influence, would stop him from fighting for the woman he loved. As the party continued, Darren carefully led Veronica and Bianca into a quiet lounge, his phone discreetly recording. He needed them to admit everything. Bianca smirked. Emily was never good enough for him. Veronica scoffed. She's just a hotel worker. We did what was necessary to separate them. Darren's grip tightened around his phone. Their cruelty was worse than he imagined. He had given them the benefit of the doubt, but now they had sealed their fate. Without a word, he turned and walked away, determination burning in his eyes. It was time for everyone, including Emily, to know the truth. Emily stood near the ballroom entrance, ready to leave, when Darren's voice echoed through the speakers. "Now, everyone will know the truth." The room fell silent as a recording played. Veronica's cold voice filled the air. "She's just a hotel worker. We did what was necessary to separate them." Gasps erupted among the guests. Emily's breath caught as realization hit. She had been deceived. Darren stepped forward, locking eyes with her. "I never lied to you, Emily." Tears welled in her eyes, but this time they weren't from heartbreak, they were from understanding. Darren had fought for her, and she had almost let him go. As the whispers faded, Darren turned to Emily, his heart in his eyes. Without hesitation, he dropped to one knee before her. "Emily, you changed my life in ways I never imagined. You showed me what love truly means." He pulled out a velvet box, revealing a stunning diamond ring. "I don't care about status or expectations. I only care about you. Will you marry me?" Emily gasped, her heart racing. Tears filled her eyes, but this time they were of pure happiness. Looking into his sincere gaze, she knew her answer. "Yes," she whispered, smiling. The room erupted in cheers as Emily nodded through her happy tears. Darren slipped the ring onto her finger, his smile full of love and relief. Veronica watched in silence, realizing the depth of her son's love. She had tried to tear them apart, but Emily had proven her strength. With a deep breath, she finally stepped forward. "If Darren loves you, then I won't stand in the way," she admitted, though her pride remained. Emily met her gaze and nodded, appreciating the small gesture. Darren pulled Emily into his arms, whispering, "You're mine forever." And this time, nothing could come between them. Darren and Emily's wedding was a beautiful celebration of love, surrounded by friends, family, and even a begrudgingly accepting Veronica. The past no longer mattered, only their future together. As they exchanged vows, Darren whispered, "You're all I ever needed." Emily smiled, tears of joy in her eyes. "And you're all I ever wanted." With a passionate kiss, they sealed their love, proving that true happiness wasn't about wealth or status. It was about finding the one who truly cared.